Tom, we have about 130 people in the auditorium here at Qatar Academy. So I'd like to introduce everybody to Thomas Friedman, the author of The World is Flat and the author of Hot, Flat and Crowded. Tom is also a reporter with the New York Times, and he's the inspiration behind the projects that we've just done a half day of our conference, Tom, the first half day, and I'd like to pass it over to Tom now. Thanks, Tom. Over to you.
Well, thank you, Julie. It's really a treat to be able to speak again at Qatar Academy, where I've had a chance to visit in the past. I don't want to give a big speech as I sit here in my home in Washington, D.C., speaking to a telephone, so it's a little disembodied. But this certainly is a flat world experience. Here I'm able to participate in your flat world conference in my own home using Skype for basically free, I guess. Let me just talk a little bit about what's been on my mind since I wrote The World is Flat, which is now over 3 years ago. Some of the biggest changes I think are out there, and then just say a few words about hot, flat, and crowded, and then let's open it up for discussion. If you ask me what are the big changes that have happened in the world since I first wrote The World is Flat, I think I'd point to three things. The first is what I'd call the iron rule of business today in a flat world, and that iron rule of business is that when the world is flat, whatever can be done will be done. The only question is, will it be done by you or to you? The iron rule of business is whatever can be done will be done. The only question is, can it be done by you, or will it be done by you or to you? So what do I mean by that? What I mean is that the world is getting so connected, and there are now so many distributed tools of innovation and connectivity that if you have a good idea in Doha, please promise me you will pursue it immediately, because someone in Denver or Dalian, China, or Dhaka, Senegal, will have that same idea a second later. Because there are now just so many distributed tools of innovation, from software to PC, other forms of technology, and so much connectivity that whatever can be done will be done, and it'll either be done to you or by you. That's sort of a first broad business principle I see happening out there. The second really applies to students like yourselves, and that is when the world is flat, I find that the most important economic competition is no longer between companies and companies, or even countries and countries, although, of course, that economic competition between companies and countries still exists. Really, the most important competition going forward is going to be between you and your own imagination. It's going to be between you and your own imagination. What do I mean by that? I mean that when the world is this flat, what you imagine really matters. It really matters, because in such a flat world, you, the young people in Qatar, can now act on your imagination. You can now act on your imagination farther, faster, deeper, cheaper than ever before. Your teacher, Julie, she imagined one day, hey, let's have a conference on this subject. You have a conference and can't come, and he lives in Bethesda, Maryland, outside of Washington. Oh, no problem. She just imagined a different way to do it, and using Skype and the internet, and suddenly I'm here, speaking to you, remotely, virtually for free, and participating in your conference in a way someone else may not have imagined, or in a way that just wouldn't have been possible years ago. So this is true in any endeavor. You may, I write in my book about someone who said, why should all iPod headphones be white? But this was a guy who worked on Wall Street up in New York. He liked his iPod. He went jogging with it every day. But he noticed all iPod earphones were white. And so he imagined multicolored iPod earphones, zebra and polka dot, and pink and yellow and red. And he went on the internet. He found a manufacturer in China to make them. he found a way to sell them through Amazon.com. And for really just a few $1,000s, using his imagination, he assembled a global manufacturing base for multicolored iPod earphones. Now, it's a silly example in many ways, but it really is the point that the only thing between you and these kind of inventions is really your imagination and understanding the potential that the flat world offers for getting someone to manufacture something somewhere, design something somewhere else, distribute it somewhere else, and process credit card charges somewhere else. And if you're creative and imaginative about that, you can start some amazing things in this world from your own desk, depending on your imagination. I think the third, the big point I would make is that we now live in an age where how you do things really matters. There's a good book out by the title, just named How by Dov Seidman, and it really makes the point that in a flat, integrated, intertwined, connected world, how you do things really matters. How you run your business, how you treat your customers, how you treat your colleagues, how you say you're sorry, or how you don't say you're sorry, matters so much more today, because people can now see into your business, or your school for that matter, farther and faster, deeper and cheaper than ever before. The New York Times company can say, well, our motto is, anything you can imagine, all the news that's fit to print. But we now have readers, who can see inside our business, that can see beyond your logo, as it were. They can see right how you live your life. And you as students have to remember that everything you do today is leaving an electronic, digital footprint out there. Everything you write that gets captured on Google is there forever. Everything you upload onto your Facebook page, it's there potentially forever. And when you go to apply for your first job, more and more employers now, the first thing they'll do is Google Julie Lindsay and see whether she's been good or bad, naughty or nice, based on the digital footprint that she's left in her Google profile. And therefore, how you do things really matters more. So be good, because you're leaving digital footprints everywhere, and people will be able to access them from now until the day you die, farther, faster, deeper, cheaper than ever before. So our hows really, really matter. And by the way, if you get your hows right, that will be a huge source of power and leverage, because more people will know about that as well. So those are just sort of some recent thoughts about where the flat world is going. In terms of hot, flat, and crowded, this book is really about how hot global warming, flat, the rise of middle classes all over the world who can increasingly live a Western lifestyle and in Western-style homes, drive Western-sized highways and Western-sized cars and eat Western-sized Big Macs. How in a world that's hot, flat, and then crowded, with the planet adding another billion people now, every 13 years. Every 13 years, we now add another billion people to the planet. And so when the world gets this hot, much climate change, this flat, this many people able to consume at higher and higher rates, and this crowded, just as many people, period, it's really going to drive some very, very serious global trends. And this book is really about those trends, which range from energy and natural resource supply and demand, climate change, petro dictatorship, biodiversity loss, and energy poverty. And the cure for those trends, basically, the way we prevent those trends from really overwhelming all of us in the 21st century, is which country can invent, through innovation, through conservation, and through energy efficiency, which country can invent sources of abundant, cheap, clean, that is non-CO2 emitting, reliable electrons and molecules. And whichever country comes up that source of abundant, cheap, clean, reliable electrons and molecules, I think we'll have the answer for the biggest problem the world is going to face in the early 21st century, which I believe are energy and natural resource supply and demand. It's demand for water, oil, food, fuel, cement, steel, petro dictatorship, biodiversity loss, climate change, and energy poverty. And so I think the next great global industry, and that's really what the book is about, is going to be not IT, information technology, but ET, energy technology, which to me, really encapsulates the search for all these new sources of clean food, fuel, and water. And the book is really a clarion call for how we do that. So with that introduction, really just mini snapshots of my latest thinking about those subjects, I'd just like to open the floor to you and your questions, and so I can answer them.
Thanks, Tom. We're just collecting some students who have some questions. I have one to start with already, but could I just say, students, if you have questions for Tom, could you please come down and sit down here now, okay? And we'll start going through these questions. Okay, so what I'll ask students to do is to say their name and where they're from, and then ask their question. There you go. Yeah, you have to sort of talk into the laptop.
Okay.
High tech.
Hi, I'm Steve from. Oh wait, what do you?
Just talk to the laptop.
I'm Steve from Houston, Texas, Springwoods High School, and first of all, I'd like to say thank you for creating this whole thing, basically. And my question is, how do you feel about how you basically started this whole thing? Basically, you're the father of this whole flat classroom thing. I mean, the world being flat. There we go.
Well, it's very interesting. I've never done anything like this. It's gotten this kind of reaction, so I'm a little been bowled over by it. It's become a meme, a theme that's picked up in a lot of places. So that's been fun professionally to see. But everything I do, it's really meant to serve my column. That is that I wasn't sitting around thinking about how can I give birth to a big idea. Really, what I was sitting around was thinking about how do I do my job. And my job is to write 2 columns a week in the New York Times that go around the world that help people understand the world, that really help explain things and give them a kind of framework with which to look at the world. And so that's really where it all came from. I wasn't out, to write a bestseller or come up with a big idea. I was just out trying to do my job. Find strength to really help people understand the world they're living in. First of all, myself. And so, the book, as I say in it, it's about really by accident. I was in India working on a documentary for the Discovery Channel on outsourcing, and I was seeing things as I was doing that documentary, which I just had never seen. I was seeing doctors in Bangalore, India, able to read X-rays in real time for patients in America. I was calling. I was losing my luggage on Delta Airlines and calling to find, discovering I was talking to someone in India. And when we kind of take some of these things for granted, but when they first happened, I was really fascinated and confused because I didn't understand what was the platform, the technology platform, that was even making any of this possible. It was all really new. So the book really began as a quest to understand what was the platform that was making that possible. And the last interview I did was with Nandan Nilekani, who's the CEO of Infosys, the big Indian outsourcing company. We were in Bangalore, and I was sitting on the couch outside his office while our television crew was setting up, and we were talking about everything I had discovered, all the my trip to India. And at one point he said, Tom, I've got to tell you, the global economic playing field is being leveled, and you Americans are not ready. And I wrote that down in my laptop. Wow, the global economic playing field is being leveled, and you Americans are not ready. And after the interview, I was riding back to my hotel in a jeep in India, and I just kept thinking about what Nandan said, rolling it over in my mind. The global economic playing field is being leveled. And it just struck me, I don't know, just sort of popped into my head that what he really was saying was the global economic playing field was being flattened. And then in the kind of crazy chemical way things happen, I don't know where it came from, it just popped into my head that what Nandan Nilekani, India's premier engineer, innovator, was saying was that the world is flat. And I wrote that down in my notebook, the world is flat. And I got back to my hotel about an hour later. I ran up to my room in the hotel. I called my wife back here in Bethesda, Maryland. And I said, honey, I'm going to write a book called The World is Flat. She now says she thought that was a brilliant idea. That's not exactly how I remember the conversation at the time, but never mind. That's what really started. I came up kind of with the idea, with the image, and then I worked backwards, and I built a platform that really explained why that image was appropriate.
Tom, we have about 9 students lined up here, so I'm going to pass you on to the next one. Thanks.
Hi, my name's Jess. I'm studying in Qatar Academy, and I noticed that this call isn't a webcam, Skype to Skype call, and so I was just wondering how many of the applications or types of technology you actually use that is making our world flat.
That's a very good question. I'm assuming you won't tell anybody what I said. I am the most unflat person in the world. For years I didn't have a cell phone at all. Then I had a cell phone that I just used my own. And lately I've got a cell phone, but I almost never answer messages left on it because I can never figure out how to do that. I have no iPod, no iPhone, no BlackBerry. I'm actually in my personal life. I'm a person. I'm deeply disconnected. And that's because I have to write 2 columns a week. And when you have to write 2 columns a week, you can't have people interrupting you on a cell phone all the time and pinging you with email and whatnot. So I actually keep myself personally very disconnected. I do answer email, as Julie knows, and sometimes I'm overwhelmed by all the email I get in a day, and so I just ignore it all and run away because there is a disease in the world today, a new disease. It's called the disease of over-connectedness, and over-connectedness can be very detrimental to your health. Because it prevents you from having the time to sit back and think. There's a friend of mine, Linda Stone, who worked at Microsoft, actually has a name for this disease. I got to think about it now. She calls it continuous partial attention. Continuous partial attention, where you are devoting partial attention all the time, 24 hours a day to where you're continuously involved in a series of acts to which you're devoting partial attention. You're at home, you're doing your homework, you're answering email, listening to your iPod while the TV's on. That's the disease of continuous partial attention, and it can be lethal to creativity. So to inoculate myself from that, I, in my personal life, am a deeply unflat person, deeply disconnected. But that's my secret. So no one outside the Qatar Academy will know.
Hi, my name is Nastasia Salem. I'm from Australia, and I'd like to know how can we interact with other areas of our life, economically, socially, and environmental, etc., through the Flat Classroom project?
Well, it's really, what we're doing today, and these opportunities become, farther, faster, deeper, cheaper than ever before. It's understanding what the it's again really using your imagination, the way Julie did, just in a simple way here, and not being in any way intimidated by distance. Oh, Tom can't come to Qatar Academy when we're having our conference? No problem. Let's get a Skype program up. We'll link in from Washington with our class here. We'll be part of the conference. It's really appreciating the new technologies that are emerging every day, and for reasons which I just explained, I'm probably the worst person to tell you what those are, that really will allow you to compete, connect, and collaborate with people anywhere, anytime, for less money than ever before.
My name is Tamam, and in your book, The World is Flat, you mentioned that there are forces that could seriously harm or slow the flattening of the world. What forces were you talking about besides the terrorist networks, and how could they negatively impact the flattening of the world? Thanks.
A very good question. There are just a whole group of, not just political forces, but even economic forces like we see today with let's take what's going on in the world today. It's a very good question. Last week, our new Treasury Secretary, Tim Geithner, was testifying. He was being confirmed before Congress. And as part of his testimony, he accused China of manipulating its currency and of deliberately keeping its currency cheap so the dollar is more expensive, so it's harder for American exports to go to China and easier for Chinese exports to go to America. And, that kind of thing, then China reacted very negatively to that. And that kind of tit for tat can make the world unflat very quickly. If countries in the face of this economic crisis throw up economic borders, if everyone in Qatar says only buy Qatari products, if everyone in America says only buy American, if everyone in China says only buy Chinese, we got to take care of ourselves in the face of this global economic crisis. That's probably the most important way and the most dangerous way in which the world could get unflat very quickly.
Hi, Tom. My name is Sonwabile Pepani, and I study at the International Community School of Addis Ababa. I wanted to know how exactly are we going to affect the people, the billions of people without computers, the third world citizens who can't get access to the flat classroom conference, and how are we going to help them in the cause?
Very important question, and the good news is that the cost of these devices, whether it's the $100 computer which is now out there, or cheap telephones, the technology is getting so cheap and so powerful that more and more people can afford it. You look at the rate of proliferation of cell phones in India, for instance, with very simple models of how to pay for them through calling cards. These technologies are getting out there, farther and faster than ever before. And while I'm actually less worried about the poorer segments of the world getting access to these technologies. That's actually happening, maybe faster than we realize. What I worry about most is them not having the educational skills, the teachers like you have, the educational opportunities to really develop the skills they need to get the most out of these new technologies. And that's something we as a world community have to be working on. Obviously, it's something their own countries and governments have to work on. Because it's always the combination of the right technology with the right education, the right imagination. It's really all three of those things together, which is, I think, the secret sauce that really propels an individual, a community, or a country forward.
Hi, my name is Nural, and I'm from India. What inspired you to write "The World is Flat and Hot, Flat and Crowded"?
Well, really, what I said earlier, explained that story in Bangalore, was really what inspired me to write "The World is Flat." It was really seeing these technologies in your home country, in India, connecting with American business and not understanding how it was working and wanting to explain to myself and readers, just how it worked. So that was really where The World is Flat came from. Hot, Flat, and Crowded, really came from kind of putting all these things together in my own head. I didn't have one epiphany moment, but it was really bringing together these three kind of rather disconnected things: global warming, hot, flattening, the rise of these middle classes able to take advantage of the flat world all over, from China to India, from Russia to Brazil to the Middle East, and crowded population growth. It was really putting those three together, excuse me, in my head, and then thinking about what the global implications were of that. And so, again, I didn't have one kind of eureka moment. It was just, it was kind of an intellectual brainstorm, I guess is the only way I can describe it. But it was also motivated, really hot, flat, and crowded by something else. And it was a very American thing. Hot, Flat, and Crowded is a book about energy and environment, but it's actually a book about America also. And my feeling that my own country has kind of lost its groove, lost its edge, and some of the dynamism in the last decade, in particular since 9/11. And really, Hot, Flat, and Crowded was my prescription of how we get our groove back. And the basic argument is we get our groove back as a country if we take the lead in solving the world's biggest problems that grow out of Hot, Flat, and Crowded. And so the book is not just about energy environment, it's also really a clarion call for how America, gets its act together again. And so the book really came out of those different, really inspirations.
Hi, my name is Edgar Omole. I study at the International Community School of Addis Ababa. I was wondering, as the world becomes more flat and fantastic new ideas are being able to be spread throughout the world very quickly, don't you think this can have the opposite effect and really hateful, negative messages could be spread quickly? And what do you feel about that?
That's another very good question, and you're absolutely right. When the world is flat for the good guys, for the Qatar academies, it's flat for the bad guys. The hate mongers, the racists, and criminals, basically, who depend on an illicit economy. And so you're absolutely right, and that's why it's so important to understand there's nothing about Skype that Skype's just a neutral, dumb technology. It can connect Julie Lindsay and Tom Friedman and Qatar Academy, but it could also connect, racist hate mongers who want to spew out, vile information about Hindus, Muslims, Jews, or Christians. So we have to be very vigilant about this. I always say that the internet is really just an open sewer. It's an open sewer of untreated, unfiltered information. And therefore, educating people, giving them the software filter to really appreciate what is out there and what isn't, what is truth and what is fact, becomes more important than ever. And those kind of software filters, those kind of cultural values and cultural norms and judgment, you can't download judgment. You really, or wisdom. Or values. You can't download those things. You can only upload them the old-fashioned way, through sending kids to church, to mosque, to temple, to synagogue, to getting a religious-based values education to supplement their secular education. It can only be uploaded by parents and teachers instilling the right values in kids. And these become more important than ever because when you're at home with the internet, you're interfacing with this open sewer completely nakedly. Your parents aren't there, your teachers aren't there, your friends aren't there. It's really you and the world out there. And therefore, what values you bring, what filters you bring, it's very important that those be uploaded by your spiritual guides, your religious leaders, your teachers, and your parents. And I take that very seriously.
Hi, I'm Fiba from Pakistan. I just wanted to ask, what do you think about right now that we are sitting on an educational revolution?
Oh, I think we are. You know, we're certainly sitting on a world where more people have access to more information and more tools of learning than ever before. And the key again, I think, goes back to imagination. You know, having teachers who understand just how cheap technologies are, and just how easy they are to connect, and how much they can be used to expand the horizons of students around the world. So, you know, when you have something like Google that can basically connect you in over 100 languages to all the world's literature and all the world's knowledge, all the world's libraries, that's an amazing, amazing thing. But just to go back to my earlier answer, to get the most out of that, you really need the kind of judgment, wisdom, and filters, and nothing can replace those things which can only really be uploaded in a classroom by religious leaders and by parents.
Hi, I'm Rehan from Pakistan. So, what is your vision of the future classrooms and learning after 10 years?
Well, another good question. You know, I'm not really sure. I wish my wife were here because she's a school teacher also. She teaches first grade reading in the public school here in Washington. Um, I don't think it's going to be. If I am my way, it wouldn't be all that much different from what we have now. I hope there'll be, you know, faster computers, simpler to use, and cheap enough that every student who wants to get access to computing power and the internet will have them available. I hope that they will connect students from all over the world, like we're doing now, with teachers. I hope they'll make available for teachers the best teaching methods and classroom, you know, plans and programs for teaching a different subject. That if Julie Lindsay decides one day she needs to know how to teach fractions to eighth graders, she can just go to the internet, toss in fractions for eighth graders, and she'll get the three best lesson plans in the world for doing that. So I'd like to see all those things, you know. But I would also say that there's nothing replacing, you know, that kind of one-to-one contact, the kind of nurturing, very hands-on personal education, you know, for students who aren't always equipped to learn on their own, or for things and the values that students can't learn on their own. And so I think we need to take advantage of what is new as much as we can, but we never lose sight of what is old, and the values of just old-time learning between a student and a teacher.
Hi, my name is Casey Cox. I'm from Westwood Schools in Camilla, Georgia, and I was just wondering what part the environment would play in education if we could lessen the carbon footprint in the classroom.
Well, you know, schools are like other institutions, you know, that they have a carbon footprint, as you say. Schools probably are relatively efficient in that kids either walk to school or bike to school, or they come in mass transit, a school bus in most schools. But you also have a lot of private schools. I live right across the street. I can look at it, see it from my window here, from the French School in Washington, D.C. on Bradley Boulevard. And every day around 4 o'clock, I see a line of SUVs with parents all idling in their cars, waiting to pick up their kids at the end of school, you know. And that's probably not the most efficient use of energy. You know, there's just so many things we do every day that are so energy inefficient that people often ask me what's the most energy efficient thing we could do, and I always say simply pay attention. Attention. The lesson I learned from Avery Love, and if you just pay attention to what you're doing, like at home, at your school, and your job, it's amazing how much energy you can save by just doing that. And we don't need any windmills, any solar farms. You know, the greatest form of and cheapest form and easiest form of clean electricity these dispersed electrons is just being more energy efficient. Those are electrons that don't cost any money to produce when you save them, and they can have an enormous effect on the environment. So, the thing is for you and your school to do what we all try to do at home or in our workplaces. Pay attention, take an audit of what you're doing, and simply ask the question, why are the lights on an hour after we're gone, or an hour before we come here, or when we're not in the classroom? Set yourself a challenge, goal, say, well, what is our electric bill right now in our school this month, and how do we bring it down? And let's say a year from now, definitely going to, cut it by 10 or 15%. Set yourself a goal and pay attention to it. You'll be amazed at what you can achieve.
Hi, my name's Athil and I go to school at Qatar Academy. And I was just wondering, to what extent do you think that the flat world will affect people's lives in the future?
Will affect people's lives in the future?
And and more importantly, what do you think to those people who refuse to accept or adapt to this change?
Well, I can understand some people not wanting to adapt to it for those reasons I talked about earlier. They don't want to be connected, or they're afraid of that connectivity. They're afraid what will flood into their community or to their kids if they don't have the filters to handle it. So I can understand that. I can even respect it in some cases. But I'm a kind of big believer that some people have accused me of being a technological determinist, and I am to some degree. That I believe if technology gives you an internet, people will use it. What they'll use it for is another question. Some will use it for good and for education. Others will use it for ill and for spewing hate. But people will use it. If Apple invents an iPhone that basically is almost a mini computer you can carry around in your pocket, people will use it. What they'll use it for, I can't really predict. And so what I see basically 10 years from now is simply more and more of these devices emerging that will make connectivity easier, cheaper, farther, faster than ever before. And I think that's just where the whole process is going to be heading. Easier, cheaper, farther, faster than ever before to compete, connect, and collaborate from anywhere in the world. The important thing is not to kind of think those technologies and what will they do. The important thing is to say, I'm going to nurture my own imagination, my company's, my school's imagination, to get the most out of those technologies. That's really the key thing. And that I can't predict how people will do. But you can be sure that the technologies will keep coming. The phones will get smaller, cheaper, lighter. The handheld devices will get more powerful with farther reach for less money and more ubiquitous. So all of that will happen. The thing I don't know is what you'll imagine ways to use them.
I'm John Vereen from Camilla, Georgia. Now, I was wondering, as the world flattens and as technology improves and changes, do you think the next generation will be prepared for this change?
I think so. I'm struck, and my wife is struck, how our college-age daughter, I have a daughter who's 20, is a junior in college, she's like our seeing eye dog. We depend on her to explain either how our phone works or how I get messages off it or how I find something on the internet. So I'm all thumbs half the time. So I think a lot of things that really have to be learned by me come natural to her and her friends. And so it was always thus. I'm sure it was true with the first telephones, the first radios, the first electric typewriters. It certainly was true with the internet, and now it's true with Internet 2.0.
Tom, we've got time for one more question, okay? I'm just passing you to the last question now.
Great.
Hi, Tom. I'm Yaksan from Oman. Well, to be honest, I have two questions, and if you have time to answer them both. My first question is, does this book have any translations other than English? And the second question, after a few generations, these technologies are going to get better and better each time. Aren't you afraid they might people be obsessed more than the olden ways? And well, thank you and good luck with your book.
Thank you very much, and a good question. Actually, The World is Flat is out in 32 languages. from Chinese to Arabic to Russian to German to Dutch to Spanish, Portuguese. I don't have the whole list, but it's actually out in 32 languages and been a bestseller in China, for instance, and I've been on a book tour there. So that's been very, very exciting. And to the answer to your second question, yes, I really go back to what I was alluding to earlier. The internet will make you smarter, but it won't make you smart. Remember that. The internet will extend your reach, all over the world, but it'll never tell you how to be kind to your neighbor, or your how to forge a friendship with the student sitting next to you. And we just can't lose sight of all that old-fashioned stuff that you can't download. You have to upload the old-fashioned way under the olive tree, with your parents and your teachers and your religious leaders, one-on-one. And so we definitely want to keep abreast of what is happening with the technologies, what they empower and what they enable. But remember that none of them come with judgment included inside. All of that has to be uploaded the old-fashioned way, and we need to keep our eyes on that. So respect your parents, cherish your teachers, and go forth with God's peace. Thank you all very much.
Tom, on behalf of Qatar Academy and the Flat Classroom Conference, thank you very much for your time and your thoughts, and we've really appreciated the opportunity for our students to interact with you today. Thank you once again.
Well, I really appreciate it. It's really an honor and a thrill, to have people around the world, reading your book and taking it so seriously. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person. I'm so glad we got to do this in a flat, remote way. I guess it was actually quite appropriate. And really, thank you so much. And I'm just thrilled to be able to do this.
Okay, thank you once again.
Bye.
Okay, bye for now. Bye.